As I've prayed into the new year for our community here at Adoration Music Academy, I felt the Lord lead me to Matthew 18:20. This is where Jesus said, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of them." Previously, we focused specifically on our personal worship to the Lord, and there is definitely a beauty and value to that, to ministering to the heart of the Lord like the prophet Samuel did in the Old Testament, or like David did when he went out to the fields and sang to the Lord, or like Jesus did when he climbed the mountain early in the morning to be alone with his Father. There is a value to spending that alone time with Jesus and ministering to his heart in that way. But there's also a value and a beauty to gathering with other believers to worship. And that's what Jesus is saying in this verse, where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of them. Jesus in this verse promises to be present among us in a unique way when we gather together with him as the center. And the Jewish rabbis of the day would have connected Jesus' words in that moment with the Shekinah glory of God that filled the tabernacle in the Old Testament. Just as God dwelt among his people and rested on the Ark of the Covenant, now God again dwells among his people and rests on Jesus in our midst. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there in the midst of them. So he dwells in our midst when we gather with him as the center. And this is our dream. Our dream is his presence, that he would be among us, in the midst of us, that he would be the center of everything. And so the vision for this year is community in the presence of Jesus and in worship. And so practically, what does that look like for us? I would like to encourage you in 3 specific areas. First of all, I would like to encourage all of us to have a greater awareness of his presence when we are with other believers. Whether we are at an online piano lesson, or gathering with family, or meeting with a friend, let's have the awareness that Jesus is there, and that our little gathering, or a big gathering, whatever it is, can really be worship unto him, and can move his heart, can touch his heart. Secondly, I would like to empower you and encourage you to lead worship this year, to gather with other believers and worship. Maybe that's your family, maybe that's 2 or 3 friends, maybe that's having a worship night at your house. There is a beauty in gathering with other believers to worship. That's what we were made to do. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe you just sing 2 songs. Maybe you prepare those 2 songs ahead of time. Maybe you don't even prepare. Maybe you just prefer to come and say, Lord, what are we doing right now? If you're a newer pianist, you probably want to have some sort of set list prepared so that you can be prepared in that way to lead. But I would like to encourage you to pray about specifically gathering to worship with other believers this year. And third, I would like to encourage you to consider joining our Adoration Community. If you are a worship pianist in any form, I would like you to consider joining it. This is a space specifically designed for worship pianists just like you to be able to come together and have that community in the presence of Jesus, to encourage one another, to cultivate the heart of worship, and to develop your skills at the piano together. One of those topics we will specifically be focusing on is leading worship, and how to do that from a place of rest, keeping your eyes on the Lord, how to hear his voice, how to go where he's leading, and all of the related topics that relate to leading worship. And so that is my encouragement for you this year, that Jesus said, where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of them. So I am praying that this year would be a year of his presence as we gather in the name of Jesus to worship and to love him. So may the Lord be with you. May he bless and keep you, make his face to shine upon you, and give you peace.